Hot Wheels, teddy bears, trains, and much more. As children, we all had that one toy or toys that we were all drawn toward and enjoyed playing with. I vividly remember running my toy car along that little racetrack rug until grooves from the wheels formed into the material. While most of the toys that we played with while we were children were seemingly innocent, a lot of them actually were dangerous or could cause harm in some way. So today, I'm going to be looking into the most controversial children's toys and the impacts that it had on the people that used them. Rad Repeatin Tarzan. In 1999, Disney released a movie by the name of Tarzan, which received a lot of positive reception. The movie currently holds an 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and made around $500 million at the box office. And if you know anything about Disney, if there's a movie or TV show, you know dang well there's going to be a line of toys and merchandise that come with it. At face value, the children's toy isn't even that bad. It looks like just a little fun Tarzan toy that you'd give your kid and just say, all right, Skipper, go have fun, and send them off on their way. Well, interestingly enough, it looks like Tarzan is having a little bit too much fun with himself, if you know what I mean. Somehow, no one saw this during production, or even better and funnier, in my opinion, they knew it and just went with it. But when you press the button on the back of Tarzan, the hand that's placed in front of him looks like he's, you know. And to tack on even more things to this, it doesn't help that he makes his iconic yells as he's furiously running his arm up and down. Like, you know, the iconic Tarzan yell as he's like going from the vine and swinging to the next tree branch. Well, imagine that, but it looks like he's slaying the dragon and releasing the peasants, if you catch my drift. Something that I find really weird is that, like, this toy came out in 1999. It's not even like you can say that this toy was like, oh, it was just a relic of the past. Like, we're past that now. They released this in 1999, and they probably knew full well what it looked like. Considering it's Disney, I imagine they have like 30,000 people that they have to send it through before they even begin producing something like this. So there's no way that all of the dudes and dudettes in that board meeting didn't know. Like, there's no way. I'm going to show you what it looks like so that way you get an understanding. I feel like I visually described it well enough, but you know, I feel like a good visual will do it justice. So have a look.
I got a new Tarzan toy, and this is what he does.
Foul-mouthed Teletubby doll. This next toy comes from the absolutely adorable show by the name of Teletubbies. I basically view Teletubbies in the same light as like Baby Einstein. Just a bunch of cute, very vivid colors that children can look at and keep them occupied. And, you know, maybe have like a cute message somewhere buried in it, but just a bunch of flashing colors to keep kids interested. It seems like a bunch of people were in the same mindset as myself when the Teletubby doll released, because many people were flocking to get this thing. I don't know if I would want to give it to a kid. I mean, the Teletubbies, while they are cute, they have like this uncanny valley look to them. They kind of freak me out ever so slightly, but it's a creepy cute, I guess. I don't know why I like it. Teletubbies are just cute. Anyway, though, once this doll hit the market, a bunch of parents began reporting the fact that this doll had some dirty language to say to the kids. If you don't know, Teletubbies speak in their own gibberish and don't really have a language that they follow, at least a main language that could easily be translated from. So, when this toy started speaking, many parents were upset when it sounded like this toy was hurling insults, and more specifically, words that target the LGBT community. Have a listen to what the doll says, and you be the judge. Again, because... The manufacturers and licensors of the doll actually had to come out and speak about this supposed foul-mouthed Teletubby. They basically just had to say, like, look, this doll isn't saying that. It's a doll. Why would we want to sneak in this stuff? It's a Teletubby doll. Here's an excerpt of what they had to say. The Itsy Bitsy Entertainment Co., which licenses the Teletubbies, said the doll is actually saying the nonsensical words, fit it, which the character regularly sings on the television show. But Toy maker Hasbro, which manufactures the stuffed doll, started earlier this month inserting language cards in each doll's box to familiarize people with the Teletubby language. Each Teletubby has its own gibberish, said Eileen Potruck, a spokeswoman for Itsy Bitsy. But I think a lot of people are buying the dolls because they're cute and they're not familiar with the series. Easy Bake Oven. This next toy is almost unsurprising if you've ever operated an Easy Bake Oven before. It should almost be obvious, but I don't think a lot of people realize that this toy has had some controversy with it, so we're talking about it. Easy Bake Oven. If you're unfamiliar with what this toy is, basically think of it as a way to get kids into cooking. You're not exactly going to be making the Thanksgiving dinner inside this thing. It's generally like small little treats, like you'd get a little tray of like cookies or something like that. Like really small stuff, but it basically piques the interest of cooking, which I think is great. I think that's awesome. Getting children interested in that stuff at a young age is really important, especially as it leads into their adult life. Unsurprisingly though, giving a child a frickin' oven doesn't really go too well, especially when you have parents that don't pay attention to their kids. So in around 2006 to 2007, a lot of units had to be recalled. Now that isn't to say that they're gone. I'm pretty sure Easy Bake Oven went like under a name change or something like that. Could be wrong on that, don't quote me, but they're still around today. It's not like, oh, recall them, take them back, that's it, shut it down. It's just that specifically, in 2006 to 2007, Easy Bake Oven had a lot of safety concerns that came from their little oven. The long and short of it is that the people that were using it, mainly children, were getting their fingers caught in the front door of the oven, causing burns. The oven was recalled after these reports came out, and Hasbro advised that children under the age of 8 shouldn't be using it, and to contact the company for a free retrofit kit. They eventually added a plastic grate on the front of the oven door that prevented the fingers from getting caught. Well, at least they thought it would prevent it. Even after this kit was provided, it only grew worse. The problem continued. There were over 249 reported incidents from the Easy Bake Oven, and around 16 of them varied from 2nd to 3rd degree burns. Hasbro recalled over 1 million Easy Bake Oven units, but this absolutely was not enough. This is because the Easy Bake Ovens that they got were only from a certain designated time point. They didn't recall any of the ones that were before May of 2006. So this basically left God knows how many units potentially out there that could harm children. While it shouldn't be surprising that giving your child an oven is a bad idea, I'm more so just curious where the parents were at. Like, you are giving a child an oven that can bake cookies. Granted, super small cookies, but it's baking cookies. Why were you not supervising your kids? And I understand. Look, I have 3 younger brothers. My siblings are insane. They're crazy. You turn away for 1 second, they're already like falling into the pool, okay? I get it. But it's an Easy Bake Oven. It's an oven. What was going on? Demonic Toy Wand. This next one is absolutely iconic for all the wrong reasons, and that is the Evilstick incident. Nicole Allen was walking through the local dollar store looking for some toys to pick up for her children. She's surrounded by walls of pink and a plethora of children's toys. She picks up a pink flower-shaped wand and decides to purchase the toy. Once she got home, she realized what she had purchased once the toy began showing what it really was. I'm going to be careful with my language in this next part because YouTube cracks down on this one pretty hard, so I apologize if I'm speaking like really verbose, so just be aware of that. After removing the plastic foil from the wand, an image of a vampiric lady is displayed in the middle of the toy, as it shows her with a blade positioned on her lower arm. The mother was obviously outraged by this incident, and the story was picked up by a local news station. In an interview, the store owner actually defends the placement of the toy, and actually states that the parents should be more aware of what they're buying for their children.
The name on it, it says Evilstick. So from the name, I would, if I'm buying it for my kid, and I have a lot of kids, and I have young ones, I would inspect it.
In a way, I do agree with the store owner. Parents should absolutely be vetting what they're purchasing for their children. They shouldn't just willy-nilly purchase something and not think twice about it. It even says Evilstick on the front. But That's about as much defending as I'm gonna do, because that's about as far as it can go. Literally, like, no person would think, oh, Evilstick, yeah, I can't wait to look at a vampiric lady doing that to her wrists. That's surely what's going to be inside that. Like, that's absolutely unacceptable in every regard. But in a way, yeah, parents should absolutely be vetting the products, but that's too far. That is way too far. Now, there's an entire rabbit hole that I can dive into with this toy specifically, but I don't want to like spend all that time on just one topic. So if you're interested in learning more, you can check out Hannah the Horrible's video somewhere around my face for further information about the toy, the origins of the photo, how it got there. It's absolutely worth your time in every regard. Highly encourage you to check it out. Of course, if you're interested. Am I like father cigarettes? Our next toy shouldn't exactly be a surprise, since this type of thing is actually seen even today, which I'm going to go into, but for now, we're going to be looking into just this toy specifically. This toy literally supports and practically encourages children to get into smoking at a very young age, which is absolutely appalling. The cigarette itself isn't real, thank God, but it does come with a plastic tip and a set of fake matches. This way you can become addicted just like the way Daddy is. Isn't that awesome? This toy is from the 1950s, so you can absolutely say that it was from a different time, but even then, it's still mind-boggling to me that this just was okay. And it even still happens today, which I'm about to get into. Now look, I'll be honest, this one isn't as explicit as the toy is, but I mean, it's still common today, and especially if you know, then you know. An example of this is a type of gum by the name of Big Chew. I was literally having a conversation with my dad about like the cigarette toy, and he brought this up and it absolutely blew my mind. Big Chew, if you don't know, looks like this. Now, if you look at what is called a loose leaf bag of chewing tobacco, that looks like this. Big Chew was literally founded under the idea of being a fun imitation of the tobacco chewing habit common among ball players in the 1970s. Obviously, this one isn't as bad as having a literal toy cigarette, and I'm pretty sure there's even like candies that you can still get even today, but it's just still wild. It's wild to see that it's still kind of just around, but it's just not as, maybe just explicit. Anyway, I've talked about this one enough. Let's move on. Gilbert U238 Atomic Energy Lab. This one is absolutely insane, like genuinely insane. I have no idea how this was approved. I don't even think you could say, Caden, it was a different time, blah, blah, blah. Like this, I have no idea how they let this slide. So I'd like to be clear and say that I have no issues if children are interested in science projects. I think those little science kits that you can buy are important for childhood development, like building those little bottle rockets in your backyard or getting a bunch of bugs to collect in like a little bug jar. Like I think that's important. That should be encouraged. That's vital for being a young child. But I don't encourage the handling of radioactive material. Yes, you heard me right. This little science kit had radioactive material inside it. Granted, it's been cited that the radiation exposure from the toy is so minimal that it's basically just like getting a day's worth of sun. But even then, it's like, okay, why is this in the hands of children at all? Why? But hey man, screw it. Let's give a bunch of kids radioactive material. I bet that'll go well for their brain development. And while we're at it, why don't we just paint the walls with a bunch of lead? Oh wait, that also happened. I'd also like to mention that this toy was an absolute disaster, radiation aside. This toy initially sold for $49.50. And, you know, it doesn't sound like it'd be that much, but given inflation, that would be around $560. $560. Due to this insane price, no one bought it. At least little to no one. They only sold around 5,000 kits, fewer than 5,000 kits, which is still a good chunk of change, but I don't know who was buying this anyway. Ironically, it was the price that made it unpopular, not the radiation exposure. Super elastic bubble plastic. Our last one goes by the name of Super Elastic Bubble Plastic, and in my eyes, I think they designed this thing perfectly. It looks bright, it's colorful, it catches your attention. It's literally a child's, like if they were to walk into a store, they'd see that immediately. It's super colorful. Let's hope though that most children skipped past this one because the side effects from it are pretty bad. This toy basically allowed children to blow up these really colorful plastic bubbles with a straw. These things are actually still around today, just not as toxic. According to Whammo, this toy was made with several petroleum-based products, including acetone, which is the primary ingredient in nail polish remover. Surprisingly enough, this stuff should not be inhaled, but children will be children, and it absolutely was. Here's what Australia's Consumer Affairs had to say about the toy. Australia's Consumer Affairs outlawed super elastic bubble plastic because of dizziness and narcosis, potentially putting an individual into a coma. They said inhaling the vapor could result in poisoning. The noxious fumes could become concentrated inside the straw, making it dangerous to inhale through the straw while inflating a bubble. Users were warned to never inhale through the straw. Man, I imagine nothing being better than having a nice lining of petroleum on your lungs. Am I right, 1970s children? Children's toys, even the seemingly innocent ones, always have some level of danger associated with them. Lego toys being swallowed, action figures being smacked upon people's heads, there's always something that can happen from playing with a toy. And from today's video, you can absolutely see that some toys were controversial for obvious reasons. Do you feel like there were any more controversial toys I should have mentioned in the video? Feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Before we hop in the end segment though, I would like to thank my Tormented Knights and my Knighted patrons. For my Tormented Knights, we have Andrea, EB Agent J, Nee, Willow, Shyla, and for my Knighted patrons, I have Brandy, Cherisy, Emma, Envy, Jessica, Lucas, Shizen, Teddy, Timo. Thank you guys so much for your really generous support. It honestly means so much to me. Thank you all. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed the video, why not like and subscribe? It definitely helps me out. If you didn't though, why not dislike and let me know what I can improve on for next time. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I will see you all in the next one.